Hey everyone, so I thought I'll just create a video solution for this since this is geometry and I need to mark a few things on the diagram to help you understand how to solve this question. So as you can see, we have this diagram here where 30, 20, 10, these are all marked. This 5 centimeter and y and x is given. And the relation that we have here is y is equal to 3x. And we need to find out the value of x. Now, before jumping into these statements, it makes sense to just briefly look at the diagram and see what are the different values that you can figure out by just by the information that is given in the diagram. So I know this length is 5 here, okay, and this whole thing is 10. So what I can say is that the remaining length here has to be 5, right? Okay, and we know also notice that if you draw something like this, again, it's not necessary, but as you can see, this portion also has to be 5. And since this total length is here from here to here, this is 10. So if I keep on drawing straight, I can say the remaining part also needs to be 10 because the whole thing is 20. So 10, 5, 5. So these are the some of the lengths that you can find out. Okay. Now you might be wondering, what about this? I don't know anything about this. And that's absolutely fine. You can assume some variable here and understand it if you want to. So let's say if we take this as Z, for example. Now notice these are all 90 degrees. That means these are all straight lines. So this vertical length and the sum of all this should be equal to 30, right? Because it's a straight line. These are all straight lines. So I can say x, this length, plus y, okay, plus z, okay, this must be 30. Okay, so these are some of the inferences that you can make, and that is all you need to keep in mind. And I don't think there's anything else that we can find out. So now let's look at the first statement very quickly. The first statement is that the area of the figure is 270. Okay, so now what we can do is we can look at how to find out the area. So see, this is a rectangle here. This box is a rectangle. This is 10 and this is x. So I can say 10 times x is the area of this portion. Notice that this is also this portion from here to here. Okay, this is also a rectangle. This base is 5, as you can see here, and this length is y. Now how do I write y? The one way is to simply write it just like this, only 5 times y, and keep it like this. Okay, and then later on maybe we will change it to x because we need x. Okay, and what about this rectangle? Now this rectangle here is 20 times z, and that is equal to 270. Okay, now some of you might think that this statement is not sufficient because there are two variables, maybe need two equations, and in fact we have three variables, we took z also. However, notice that we can convert each and everything in terms of z, and let me show you how. Now we already know y is equal to 3x, so we can replace this by 3x. Okay, we know x plus y plus z is 30. We know y is 3x. So x plus 3x plus z is 30, or z is equal to 30 minus 4x, right? So we can write 20 times 30 minus 4x is equal to 270. Okay, and now it's very easy. 10x plus 15x plus 600 minus 80x is equal to 270, and we can then solve it. We can clearly see that we'll get some value of x, so we don't actually need to get into the calculation. We can just say that statement 1 is sufficient. Whatever be the value does not matter, as long as we can see it very clearly that some value of x will come, and a positive value. Now let's come to statement 2. Now at this point, while creating the question, what I did was I knew that some of you might do is, if you might think that, hey, since the area is sufficient, maybe even the second statement that's about the perimeter, even there, that may be sufficient. And some of you may end up marking the answer as D. So there was a D trap set here for some of you who did this question very quickly in a hurry. Some of you may also have marked the answer as C. There was a C trap also. Those of you must have thought, okay, there are two variables, y and x, and there are two equations that I can get from here. So, and you may end up marking C also. So this is a typical question where I wanted to show you that without doing analysis, do not make any conclusions. Solve it, check it out, and then only mark the answer. Okay. Now let me show you why statement 2 is not sufficient. Well, here it's given that the perimeter is 110. Now let's find out the perimeter of this. Okay, let's write it properly. This is 20 here. Okay, so let's write down 20. Okay, let's look at the horizontal length first. So 20 is done. Okay, we know this portion is 15, right? So this is another horizontal length. If you are not able to see it, let me rub this down so you can see this length is 15. Okay, we have, let me again rub this down to just once up this so that you can see it clearly. This is 5 here, so this horizontal length is 5, and this here is 10. So all the horizontal lengths have been accounted for. As far as the vertical length is concerned, this is 30, which we have already know, and we already inferred that x plus y plus z is also 30. So notice that we are not using any variable at all and added up 60, 90, and again you have 20 here, which is 110. So we already know the perimeter is 110, and this statement cannot help us find out the value of x. That is why statement 2 is not sufficient, and that is why the answer in this case will be option A. So I hope that's perfectly clear how to solve this question and why you should not jump to conclusion and mark the answer as C or D. Okay.